Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Mindhunter Season 1, Episode 3. It's called Episode 3. Uh,
On the first episode, you said, I'm not going to tell you the episode titles each time because they're just that. And then every single time since you've gone, it's called.
okay, every single time since, I don't know if that's applicable when it's just two times, alright? Single time since sounds like at least like half a dozen.
I mean, sure, I'm stretching it a bit, but the point stands.
I always say the episode title, and I feel like I need to actually just acknowledge that there's no episode title, and that's why I'm not saying one, because I don't usually just say episode blah, and then, you know. But anyway,
I think you just get into your rhythm and you forget, and then you get to it and you go, shit. It's called episode 3.
I'll let the speculation run rampant. So, full spoilers for the episode, as per usual. We start once again with this scene of this guy. It turns out it was an alarm company is what this guy works for from the last episode. And it's funny, because now, most of these killers and stuff in this show, maybe all of them, are based on real people. Because I looked up Ed between 2 and 3. I was curious about a couple of things. And you could probably, I believe this one is 2, so you could look this guy. I'm not going into it. I want the show to just tell me its things. But you could look into it probably. But all it is he's just kind of like staking out a house. He's just watching a house intently.
Yeah.
And then goes into
That's
his
it.
van, and that's it. But it's like, okay, right, we're built.
He's picked a target.
Yeah, it's kind of what I said last time. We're going to get little bits each episode, maybe until he finally does something, and then I don't know. But the main bulk of the episode, we finally got Anna Torv's character, who I'm a big fan of from Fringe. I don't know how rare is it that I'm saying I'm a fan of something from another show and I don't hit a certain TV show.
It is.
Yeah,
It's,
nice.
She wasn't in that.
Joe was. There's no way I can possibly relate to that.
No.
The best I can probably do is, that was a strong genre show with a blonde female lead, just like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's a stretch. I admit that was a stretch.
It is a stretch, but you've got it on camera now, so you don't have to try now.
Excellent. So she plays Wendy Carr. She is a professor at a university, and she wrote a book, kind of the preface to what they're doing now. What Holden and Bill are doing, or Bill. Well, they kind of both work. They're kind of short for the same name.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say.
But so they go and see her, but while they're near another killer they want to go and talk to, and they go and speak to her, and she's like, she already knows Bill for a start.
Yes.
They're already acquainted. She's consulted with him before, and they go in and see what she's doing, and this is actually the first time they get anything that was, akin to enthusiasm about what they're doing. Everything so far has been like, oh no, don't do this. This is sick. This is bad. Okay, fine, you can do it, but you're doing it in the basement, you little shits. You're not doing anything else.
Yeah, we don't want to see it.
Yeah, but now she's like, no, this is a great idea. You should keep talking to them. Like, I've read your notes on Ed. We're like, yeah, you should write a book. We should spend 5 years doing this. This could be the greatest
Yeah,
thing.
it's like you've got to do this full time. You can't be going around the country.
Yeah. Well, they have to go around the country.
Oh, well, yeah, but not to teach.
This is not just for the FBI. This is teaching sociology, psychology, all these different things, like all these different fields. This is important work, and we can say from present day, yeah, it actually kind of is. Yeah, it became a thing. But and I love what I love about this scene is these two characters who I really care about now as a pair, and the way they interact with each other.
There's a good few moments in this where I got a good chuckle or something, just based off their looking at each other or something.
And it was always because you could see in Holden's eyes lighting up. It's like, a book?
As soon as she said
Right.
book, and he goes, ooh, and you see Bill going, oh, God.
Yeah, and I love that eventually he's like, and I've known this guy long enough to know that look in his eye. Stop encouraging him. Stop it right now. I love it. It's so good. Like, I think it's like, the first episode I enjoyed at the time, but it's kind of amazing to me how much it's progressed, and we're only on episode 3 to the point where, like, I get these two characters so well now. I get how they interact, their relationship, the way they talk to each other. It is so well defined that
It makes one almost seem a bit weaker in the sense that, yeah, this is kind of the core of the show, their relationship,
yeah,
and that wasn't there.
And I don't think it's weaker per se. It's just that it wasn't. It didn't. It was setting that up. We didn't get there. We didn't even meet Bill until like 2/3 into the first episode. But now it's like no, we have this core pair that are kind of doing the whole thing, and every single time they go and see their boss, every time they go and see Shepard, it's almost a comedy scene because he's just pissed off that he has to deal with this.
Yep. It's like, oh, this again.
And it's glorious. But she's like, no, keep doing what you're doing. But she's encouraging them, like, you should be doing more of this. You should be dropping all this other teaching bullshit you're doing. And
yeah, it's just like, oh, can anyone do this? And Holden's like, yep, anyone can do it. And
yeah,
like, well, hang on a second.
I'm very good at my job. I'm the only one who can do this. Don't you be saying that?
Yeah.
But of course, so the episode largely is about convincing Bill that maybe they should try and put more of a focus on this stuff because it is beneficial. And of course, that actually comes up in a case. They actually accomplish something because of what they've done. But what I like about it though is that it's not like sure, as soon as they leave the office, like there's a couple of moments where Holden's like, about what Wendy said. It's like, no, Holden, we're not doing this. We're not talking about it. There was a couple of those moments, but otherwise it wasn't like, he kind of forgot about it. Or at least not forgot about it, but he stopped talking about it. He stopped bringing it up. He didn't badger him all episode. He kind of just, okay, let's do what we're supposed to do. And then, of course, they get the call from, California. The same case with the dog and the beaten up woman. But now there's been a second victim, and this time he's killed. And it's this idea of escalation. He was working up to it, and now he's actually, the killer's done it. And they're like, we have to go back there. We have to get involved in this because this is exactly what we predicted. We were right. And that's what they say when they go to see Shepard. Holden says it like 5 times. He's like, yeah, this is exactly what we predicted.
And Shepard's like, yeah, I got you. I heard you the first time.
And Bill's like, yeah, we have to go back down. We have a responsibility because they already messed about with the DA and interviewing, so they've got a kind of an obligation to go down and actually help clean it up a little bit.
And Shepard's like, well, obviously, this is actually this is murder now. This is, as you're calling it, sequence killer. Go on.
Actually, when are we going to get to the word serial killer? When are we going to get to that phrase?
Yeah, when does someone decide they don't like sequence and they like serial instead? And who comes up with that? It can't be Holden because Holden's too attached to sequence.
Do you know what it is? I hope it's a comedy scene, and I hope Bill, he's eating cornflakes. And he's looking over at the box, he's like,
No, can't do it.
He's like, Holden, this sequence killer phrase is not working for me. How about serial killer?
I hope it's a drunken conversation. I hope they've gone out to the bar, they're celebrating for whatever reason. They caught someone or something, they're at the bar, and he's had a few drinks, and he's like, look, I've got to tell you the truth. Can't lie. I really don't like this sequence killer bollocks. we can do better.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, actually, just before we get to them flying down to California, I want to just mention they actually have a map up in their office. This is when they get the phone call. They're building a map of where all the serial killers that are currently in prison that are of interest, are relevant to what they're doing. And it's like he's just putting like pins on a board. And I love that Bill's like, oh, Florida, there's good golf courses in Florida.
That's it. They're like going, oh, Midwest, and Bill's like, oh, yeah, the cops in Midwest are always very nice. Let's do a bit of a tour. And then Holden goes, oh, I got this one here, but it's in Florida. Bill's like, yeah, I will never say no to a golf course in Florida.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
So they go down and they talk to the police captain down there again and talk to him about the case, and they get the details. The dog was like eviscerated this time. Like, it wasn't just a simple cut. It was
and it was notable. Like, it was a bigger dog, more vicious, and obviously the woman was younger,
and this time killed, obviously. Yeah. And they start talking through like potentials, and this is where Holden's like, yeah, this is not a kid, like, because they've been looking at like teenagers and like younger people. It's like, no, this is someone 30 or 40, at least late 20s. This has to be, and Bill agrees. And that's about this is someone who probably, and again, kind of comparing it to Ed, like, okay, this is probably something with mother issues, because it feels very, like, the way he's going after women with dogs, this seems very specific, and all this, and eventually he's like, oh, we did bring in one guy who was like 30. So, for something else, and it's the moment he says, "Oh, he really likes talking to cops," and then they two just look at each other like, just like Ed.
I proper chuckled when he goes, "Oh, he's a nice guy, likes talking to cops," and they look at each other. It's like, oh, okay, we got it.
I like the pacing of this show, because see if they had shoved that in the last episode, like a network TV show would have, it would have just felt like such a sort of cheap, like, oh, you set this up at the start and now you're paying it off.
Yeah.
It would have felt too quick. But because we've been building up to this since the last episode, it felt like a great little moment where they looked at each other
This is actually one of those rare times where I think the Netflix pacing pays off. Oftentimes
Yeah.
where they'll think they can get away with more because people are just going to watch it straight after, or regardless, they're not going to watch it week to week. They're not going to forget a small line like that. It'll be soon enough that they'll remember. And this is one of those times that it's benefited.
I think so too. Because it doesn't feel like they had to remind us. We just knew it from last episode. They trusted us. We knew, and we got it, and it worked. And that's what I think works so well, is because they don't even say anything. They just share a look. And that works because it's almost like we are part of that look. We're sharing that look with them because we're all like, we know.
And this is the benefit to Netflix is they can put something that's in episode 2 and then pay it off in episode 8, and that's probably only a couple of days for most people watching the show.
Yeah.
Whereas on weekly regular TV, that's 2 months.
So, at best, without breaks.
At best,
yeah. So okay, we need to talk to this guy. He's like, okay, we'll go talk to this guy, and they go talk to this guy, and sure enough, he's got a mother who's constantly berating him and shouting at him, who he lives with, by the way. And they're like, oh, there's a, because when they get in the house, they look over at the side, like, oh, there's a little dog bed over there. Like, they don't say anything.
Dog leash, but no dog.
They just look at it, and it's like, oh, you can see the pieces kind of falling into place. Like, he hates his mother, he hates her little dog. That's this is where it maybe comes from. And every time they try to ask him a question, she interrupts and answers for him. And in a very sort of like condescending way, like oh yeah, that's where he sleeps if he can even get up there if he's not drunk. It's like always with a criticism, always.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? I can kind of see why he's killing people. Like within about 10 seconds, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, it said I don't even know if he hates the dog. You said I don't really know if he does. I think it's just obviously the women here killing are surrogates for his mother because he can't actually kill his mother. So he's killing these stand-ins, and the dog just completes the picture.
Until eventually he just has enough of it and does, because that's what Ed did. Like he killed other people and then eventually killed his own mother.
Yeah,
that's kind of what the climax is. It's like he's building up to it. It's again escalation. He didn't kill the first one. He did kill someone. He'd maybe kill a few more, and then he'd eventually snap and kill his mother.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
That's the other thing. They say that he gropes the victims, but he doesn't actually molest them. He doesn't rape them. Doesn't actually penetrate.
Yeah, there's no penetration. It's all just about the power.
Yeah, it's not actually about the sexual side of it. It's just about I can do this because I can, not because I actually care.
Yeah, and it's a big part of it is his mother makes the choices for him, and this is I can make the choice to do this because I'm man enough to do this. Yeah,
so they take him outside. And they get all buddy with him. And they start, doing the sort of casual. And I like it because the police captain is there as well, the local guy, and he's just kind of like watching. And like, there's times when he almost looks like, why are they asking this? Why are they going down this path?
And then a minute later, he goes, "Oh, I see it."
And they keep doing, they keep doing, they keep, and they're talking about what his mother's like. He mentions that this guy lives with them now. That his mother's got a boyfriend who lives.
Yeah, and he mentions it was recent. It was like, okay, that was the final straw sort of thing.
That's what set him on the path, and they push buttons like, oh, can you hear them at night? You're right next door. Your mother's having sex. And they're very gross. Because even Holden, who is so far like we barely hear him swear in this show. He's very polite and very proper, but even he's like, it must be hard hearing your mother F someone. Like he's very.
He gets into character, doesn't he?
He does. He's doing it really well. And what I liked about it is, as much as he's felt very inexperienced compared to Bill in a lot of ways, in this scene, they have this repertoire of being FBI agents where
he's got the lead.
Yeah, they nail it. Like they feel so in sync with each other, and it's quite impressive in that sense. And so it keeps going, and the guy gets more emotional, and he eventually kind of like. They just get him to that point where he's just about to admit it. He starts crying. And he's like, "Oh, I bet sometimes you want to do this," and he's like, "No, I'm a man. I can do this. I can make my own choices." And they're getting there. They're getting to the point where he's going to admit that he's going to brag almost, so they don't think lesser of him. He's going to brag that he's done
that's
this.
It, isn't it? He's got to own what he's done.
And actually, it cuts to it cuts to TV, and we hear it in the news. Someone's been arrested, but then it goes to the police station, and they're all drinking. All the cops are all celebrating them, and the captain's like, "Oh, this guy right here, this son of a bitch, he's like Sherlock Holmes." which makes Bill Watson.
I don't think Bill was too happy about that.
No. And it's funny because, again, like, it was nice to see them get a win. It felt kind of nice to see them feel celebrated, and it's like, as much as maybe this captain didn't understand the line of questioning, he didn't understand how they were tackling it.
He definitely understands results.
Yeah, he understands, okay, they got to it, they figured it out through a method that he'd never considered, which is why it feels like Sherlock Holmes. It feels like...
That's it. It's I don't understand this, but it works.
Yeah. And of course, Holden has to try and spoil it by giving some philosophical speech about going into darkness.
He gets a bit artsy-fartsy, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I like that he gets us through like 2 sentences, and then Bill's like, you know what, I've let him do this before. He jumps in, he's like, aye, thanks for the beer. And they go out. But again, they go out to the car and they try and leave, and they've played a prank on him. They've actually taken off his tyre.
Yeah.
And they don't get angry, they just start laughing. It's like, oh, they've accepted that we're one of them. Like, they actually...
Yeah, it's like an initiation thing, isn't it?
Yeah, they've accepted that we are equals, so they can't even get mad, because it's like, no, we broke down a barrier here today.
Yeah.
So...
That's it. It's like, there's a moment where you think Bill's kind of going to be annoyed, or maybe probably Holden as well. And it's not. It's this, okay, we're one of them. They trust us enough to, join it like this, because it's a harmless prank. That's the point. It's more, let's have fun as mates.
Also, by the way, I love when he drops his keys and he's like, oh, if only I had some light to shine in the darkness, I could see.
Yeah, that was great.
That was good. Well, actually, we glossed over one scene, actually. After they meet Wendy for the first time, they go to the local prison in that state, or whatever. It's like an hour's drive from where she was, and they're waiting outside, and they're kind of like twiddling their thumbs, and then the prisoner decides they don't want to see them, and the doctor who works there, because obviously clearly the patient's sort of a mental sort of needs capacity, and is like, we give him advance notice. He said it was okay at the time, but he's changed his mind, and I think the point here is basically just what Bill learns. That's the last time we ever give advance notice, because it worked with Ed. They just showed up for Ed and gave him like the notice on the day, and it's almost like the temptation to do it was like if they have time to think about it, they'll change their minds.
Yeah, and also I think it's the idea that he says, oh, maybe if you come back tomorrow, and I think this is something that's going to set Bill on the idea that maybe we do need to do this full time, because it's like, if that was the case, they could have just come back tomorrow, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. They'd have lost a day, but they'd have just done something else. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. But now they've missed out on this for could be months before they can get back. Yeah,
because they're flying away. Yeah, because they say that we're flying out tonight or tomorrow morning, but we're gone. And obviously they get this big one, and then we go back to Ed, and Ed. It's actually kind of hard to remember Ed's long conversations a little bit, partly because there's so much in them, but I also feel like all of the conversation in this one, all parts of it were like building on parts that he already had in the previous episode, so it's kind of, he talks, because we already heard about what he did to his mother, but this one it was a bit more about the emotion of it and feeling it.
And it's because he's so soft-spoken, it kind of just slides in, you hear it, and it you don't really take it in until you stop and think about what he said.
Yeah, it oozes far too comfortably in, which, by the way, I loved, and I'm amazed that I never thought of this last episode. I guess it's because it's the 70s and maybe I just didn't think about it, but, Wendy's like, yeah, you really should have taken a tape recorder in and recorded what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then because when they go to this other prison, like, we should have brought a tape recorder, and then we see them with Ed, and there's a tape recorder, and like Ed's like eyeing it up, and he's like, did you get that on tape?
And do you know what I think the bit that cracks me up is that's after Holden corrects it. He looks at it and the level's not moving at all. And so he turns it up, and I think Ed spots that. He's like, "You didn't get that at all, did you?"
Again, it's just Ed showing that he's smart. He's aware, and
it felt like a taunt. It's like, "Did you get that?" It's like, and he knows they didn't.
Yeah, and obviously they mentioned the whole book thing, and he's like, oh, I want to write a book. Maybe if you could put in a word, get me a tape. Because that was, Bill said last episode, eventually he'll ask for favours, for privileges, for things. And a typewriter's not like a ridiculous thing to ask for, admittedly, but, like just this idea that he would want something in return.
Yeah.
Eventually. But yeah, he talks about all this stuff. He talks about how, again, that sense of power, kind of like what we were talking about the other guy, where while he was going through this awful time with his mother and, like, the awful experience he had with her, he'd see, like, someone with a girlfriend, and he'd be like, oh, like, I could have her head in my bag, and, like, I could do that, I can make that choice, I can have that power, I can have that, And like he talks about taking at first he didn't bring a gun, like he just like strangled or whatever, and like you know there'd be times where he like at the start he'd pick people up, but he wouldn't even kill them. He'd just take them home.
It's just this idea of escalation.
Yeah, like you sort of start slow and you build and you build and you build. And I'm talking about this, and again I want to just compliment the acting in these scenes. I think there's a great subtle touches where they're acting friendly with him, he acts friendly back, but there's this unsettling undertone to it. Especially whenever he interacts over to Bill, and Bill gets involved, because Bill's a bit more unsettled than Holden is.
Yeah.
And I think that plays really well in this scene as he talks about the different things, and I particularly enjoy the whole ear to ear part of the conversation about, you know, when you slit someone's throat, you actually have to go ear to ear so they both suffocate and bleed to death at the same time, because you get the windpipe as well. It's actually it's not just a saying, it's advice. It's instructions.
And the whole conversation, it starts with, you know, it's not like how you see it on TV or the things. And, you know, they go, oh, was it? Did you think like TV and movies, you know, the violence is what influenced you? And he's very quick to say, no, it's just it doesn't give you the preparation that you think it does.
Yeah, which is because I've always kind of had that opinion. Violent movies and video games don't make people violent. It enables people who are already violent. Like, it gives them more ideas, maybe, but it doesn't make them violent. If you're violent, you're violent. Not. Yeah, for maybe other reasons. You know, having
and study after study has proven that to be the case.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hate the movie. It's just a grotesque movie that's trying to shock the audience at all times. But the one thing I do like about Human Centipede 2, I know this is a weird tangent to go on, but it's related to this, is so that the plot of Human Centipede 2 is that it's actually set in the real world, and it's a fan of the first movie who's trying to do it for himself. Okay. But he's not a surgeon, so when he tries to actually connect people together, he makes an absolute mockery of it, and he accidentally kills someone because he just cuts the wrong thing, and it's just that idea of the killer looking to the movie to prepare for something, but you can't learn from a movie how to do anything like this.
It's all TV upped, and it's not the reality of it.
It's an awful movie. There's a lot of stupid things in it, but I'll give that idea, that concept, some cred at the very least.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, so these things, even the fact that pizza arrives and he's like, "Oh, you guys, you brought me pizza."
Yeah, that was a nice touch. It's just the way he's so excited, almost like, "Hey, pizza! I haven't had pizza in ages. I love pizza."
Yeah. So, no, all that stuff was good. The mother's vocal cords and the the garbage disposal, because she would never shut up, but then I shut her up. I shut her up good.
Yeah. No, it's the same ironic joke we were talking about last episode, but it's just this dark. It's way darker because it's his mother's head.
Yeah, and what I realised is afterwards, when they're on the plane talking about it, I almost thought Bill was going to tell Holden he was creeped out by him, because he's talking about how he thinks we're his friends, or actually I'll correct that, he thinks you're his friend, and I thought he was going to say, "Oh, and that kind of creeps me out. How do you?"
Yeah, you got to be careful.
But instead he says that makes you a damn good agent, and I'm like, "Oh, right, okay." He's recognising that he can get close. But I think it's interesting that this is the one scene we get with Debbie in this episode, is that he says to her, "I need to keep my head on and not let these people that I'm going to be talking to affect my outlook on the world, and specifically sex and females."
But you can see how obsessed he is. Like, every time that we see him at home with Debbie, he's just talking about it. He can't stop. He's just thinking about it constantly.
Yeah, he's excited about his work. He's excited about it just happens to be a really dark subject that he's excited about. But yeah, and she kind of goads him a little bit, because he's like, "Oh, I could cut you with this nail file, and then I'd be one of your subjects." It's like, "Oh, you'd make for a fascinating conversation."
That would be something to watch, wouldn't it?
Because they also have that as well. They have a little moment where they're getting some food, and they're comparing their kind of love lives, and he's like, "Oh, do you hate your mother?" He just says that to Bill. He's like, "No, I like my mother. She's dead now, but she was fine." Like, "What about your wife?" "Yeah, I love my wife." And it's actually it's after what they've went through, talking to Ed and all that stuff. You see Bill up in the middle of the night making a phone call to his wife. He needs to hear the voice. He needs to say, "Oh, say I love you" to the son.
Yeah, it just needs to reassured that he's normal.
I can't believe I've done this in 2 reviews in a row, but they both need to have the lightning rod to ground them, because they're entering this deep, dark, depraved world. They're having to like sort of go into this, because that's the thing. Bill's like, you know what? I think we should call Wendy. We should set something up. Have her come and see what we've done so far, because this is important. And as much as it sickens me to my core, and I hate doing it, you can see the benefit. You can see that it's working.
That's it. Like, I think the idea that they caught someone because of this, and it's someone that usually would have gone down as, this would have just been a cold case. They never, because there was no connection. There was no reason for him to pick those women, other than what they discovered in this, which traditional methods would not have found. He could have gone on, probably up until he killed his mother, and then I imagine he might have stopped at that because he achieved his goal.
Yeah, and he may never got caught. Well, maybe get caught for the mother, because the mother's connected to him.
Right, that's it. That would be the point. But how many people would it have taken to get to that?
How many before that? Yeah, exactly. So they've saved lives by doing this. Yeah. Which, so that's kind of where we end with Wendy coming to Quantico to talk to them. And she's almost surprised at first, because they're like, she gets out of the cab, they're like, okay, we're this way, and they're walking away from the main building. She's like, what?
No, just wait till she sees the basement.
Yeah, and they're just talking about what they're going to do. It kind of feels like this is the third member of the team, like the third person who cares. Yeah. So they've got an ally who's going to work with them, and I can see her getting really involved as well, because she'll care about what she's doing and stuff.
That's it, because she's already in this field. She's already interested. She legitimately cares from an academic side of things. Whereas Holland cares because it's his idea and he's fascinated. Bill cares now because he can see the benefit of saving lives. She cares from an academic standpoint. Yeah,
it's almost like your 3 pillars of what you need to.
And it's the idea that they all care about it, just for different reasons, but ultimately the goal is shared.
Yeah, we shouldn't gloss over the brief conversation they have before she arrives, though, where Holden asks Bill if he ever had a thing with her. He's curious. He's like, no, I love my wife. I've never done that. He's like, why? And he keeps talking about it. He's like, oh, have you got a crush? Is that what this is? Because she's a woman who shares his, like, more so because she has all the same ideas, and she actually is excited by what he thinks about. As opposed to Debbie, who seems to be a very sort of good, strong relationship with him, but doesn't necessarily have the interest in all the stuff in the same way.
There's no intellectual connection.
Yeah. And he's like, no, it's not that. I just like, and he jokes that, oh yeah, you're just, it's like, oh, everyone else has been whatever, but no, now it's a foxy professor who's listening to you. Like now you're all interested, and I think it's interesting to bring up. I don't know if it actually necessarily means that he does have any kind of feelings. I think it's an interesting dynamic because of the men they're dealing with and the men they're talking to, for them constantly question to how they're treating women in their lives and how they're viewing them is maybe an interesting thing for them to.
No, I think that makes sense. I think we even saw the start of that in this, where he goes and has to change the words, the language that they have. Oh,
you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's a really funny scene as well, because he's talking to this other, agent who teaches a class, and it cuts to, like, I don't know, the woman who, like, deals with the curriculum and, like, does all, makes all these changes, and it just cuts to her reading out all these phrases, like, gangbang. No, we're keeping that. Okay. Fellatio, no, we're getting rid of that. And it's like, okay, I didn't even understand which ones were. I didn't get the picks, because one of them was like I'm forgetting them now. But one was dildo, and I'm like, why is dildo banned? I didn't get it.
Why were they before? Because he wants to unban them, right?
No, he wants to ban them, I thought.
Oh, I thought the idea was that these were on ban them from the curriculum, but so they were taught as these are words that they might use, like these are the people who are depraved. That was the point, that it was people who are depraved will use these words and things like that. And he's going, no, he's almost trying to normalize some of these things.
I thought he was wanting them taken out of the curriculum.
Yeah, that is taking them out of the curriculum. Would be normalizing them for regular use, because the curriculum they're teaching is these are signposts of deranged people who use this language. People who talk about gangbangs. These are people who we should be watching. And he's saying,
I get you. Okay, so they're taking the phrase out because this doesn't mean they're actually a criminal.
Right, exactly. He said,
okay.
Them using dildo doesn't mean they're deranged.
But them using gangbang does?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's down to, the more repressed at that time.
Okay.
And yeah, so some things were, but like fellatio. He's like, okay, that's nothing. There's nothing actually wrong with that. We can normalize this by taking it out of the curriculum because they're teaching it as, oh no, this is something that people with problems do, and he
Okay.
doesn't want
All
that.
right. I didn't read that scene correctly, and I just thought he was. I mean, I got that he was taking them out. I didn't get that's why he was taking them out though.
Oh, well, maybe it's me. I thought that was the point.
No, it
But
makes more sense because I wasn't really sure why those specific words though. Like I didn't like. I thought it was a funny scene because you had this woman reading down all
yeah.
these phrases, but I didn't really get exactly what the point of those specific words were. I didn't see why dildo and fellatio were different than gangbang
yeah.
and
He's trying to
pussy.
normalize them basically. He's going, no, these aren't. There's nothing wrong with these words. So let's not teach them as these are things
Yeah,
that are.
maybe it's because this is 2017, but every single word he said I thought was okay. There was like maybe one. There was like the enema one. Like yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the
Like,
one he had to ask,
yeah.
what was that word?
Yeah, you could take that or leave that. But the rest of them, like pussy, gangbang, like all these ones, I'm like, no, they're
Yeah,
fine. Like
I
whatever.
think that just shows how we've evolved as a
Okay,
society.
sure. Yeah, I don't want to live in a world where pussy's a banned word. No, no, no. or
Yeah.
or a faux pas word rather.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that brings an end to episode 3. I am enjoying it as much as 2, maybe more than 2. The point is though, is it's actually stronger as it's going, which is good.
And, like obviously, at the end of the first episode, I said I liked it, but there was no hook. I think the hook is now here, but it's not what I was expecting because it's it's Bill and Holden. Their relationship is kind of
Yeah.
the hook,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
their journey.
You were
And I wasn't
you were
it to be
expecting a
that.
quick hook in terms of like, oh, exciting killer
Here's
drama.
a killer. Here's a case.
Yeah.
But
And we have that.
those-
Sure, don't get me
they're
wrong.
there,
It's
but
there.
they're not the hook.
Yeah. Whereas instead it was more of a sort of softer, and you realise, oh, I'm hooked now, but I'm hooked with an embrace, not
Yeah.
a sharp hook to the gut.
Yes, and it's interesting. I'm hooked on the characters, not the plot, which is obviously something that I don't typically expect in shows of this style.
Yeah, well, that's why we don't typically like your your procedural case of the week
Yeah,
crime shows because it's just about the plot, and that can be fun. Like after like Fincher's own like Zodiac, it's mostly about the plot. I'd say. I mean, well, it's been a while since I've watched that. Maybe I'd change my mind if I watched that again. But like like Seven, even like it's sure the characters are a thing
that's
there.
fine for a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
but it's not for a 10-hour show.
Exactly. Whereas the characters here are a bit more what the point is. So no. There you go. So that's episode 3. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can help us out by doing that. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?